Good morning and welcome to my Whyville tour, which I am recording using Screencast-O-Matic. At this time, you can see the startup screen for Whyville with the login here in the corner. I'm going to take a second to log in and pull up my avatar. And now we have my avatar, which I can make changes to. We have the events that are going on in Whyville this week. I'm going to click on the map. And the area that we're going to tour today is going to be the North Beach. So let's take a break at the beach. When I'm in North Beach, I can relax. I can go to the Whyville Cove, or I can choose from these activities. And the activity that I would like to share today is the Reef Station. Inside the Reef Station, there are several actual resources that students might be interested in using. For example, if you click on these brochures, you're going to learn more about scuba diving in the real world, not the virtual world. Here we go. Here's the Reef scuba information. And we can return here to the Reef Station. If you click on these reference books, it's going to give you a list of sources that students can go to learn more about coral reefs, including some of the sponsors of Whyville. And again, we can return to the Reef Station at a click of a button. One of the games that is available here in the Reef Station is the Food Web game, and this is where we increase our salary of daily clams. So if I click on this Food Web poster, there are many Food Web games. You can see which ones I've completed. If you try a new one, you get an increase of 1 clam of salary for each game that is completed. So let's go to the Giant Moray Food Web. Here we go. We have to put these pictures into the Food Web, and you cannot place them in the wrong spot. So that's one way that the game helps you. The Giant Moray is obviously going to be at the top of that Food Web. Oops. Here we go. And once you have all of the creatures correctly placed, you can click Done. It will talk to you about all of the Food Web that is available here in the North Reef Station. Talks about the different levels, important organisms that you see here that aren't visible in the North or South Reefs, zooplankton, phytoplankton. So there's a whole lot of information given to the students about webs, about food chains. We can return to the Reef Station here, or from the top back to games. I want to take everybody back to the Reef Station and look at another activity. This is a reef simulator, and it shows you what happens when different things affect the reef. So here are the percentage of plants and corals and mammals, fish, etc. that you would see in a healthy reef. If you look at a different scenario, it asks you how you would predict the reef would be affected, and then has some questions. Let's assume we have a problem of coral bleaching going on. Alright, the temperature of the water near the reef has increased. It's making the coral stressed, and they're spitting out their zooxanthellae plant partners. They get a lot of food and bright colors from these, so now they're hungry and look like they have been bleached white. My hypothesis is I pretty much think that everything is going to decrease because the coral is a basic food of many of these fish. And let's go with that prediction right here. Here is our simulation of coral bleaching, the immediate effects. We get a second graph, and the long-term effects. The kids can look at all three graphs, the healthy reef, immediate effects, long-term effects. Now they do have to answer some questions to see how the reality compares to their hypothesis. So the herbivore has increased. The coral population has decreased, which I did predict. The carnivores have decreased. And my original hypothesis was that all of this would decrease, and I'm correct. And then I can either go to some forums and share my thoughts, or I can go back and try another situation, or I can go back to the Reef Station. Another resource that's available here in the Reef Station are videos from real coral reefs that you can see right here in this photo. This is going to be a graph of oh, I'm sorry, that's the Reef Simulator again. The journal is where I'm going to take notes on what I do when I'm scuba diving in the reef. So let's suit up right here, and I can swim for up to 30 minutes. I go out here into the North Reef, and this is where I do most of my field work. I pick up the reef coder. My air has 30 minutes left. I'm going to click on different species that I see. I'm only going to earn clams for my best dive of the day. I can dive as many times as I want. And I do have to identify the species that I collect while I'm down here. It's not telling me that I'm seeing any new species this morning. So if I have already previously identified all of these species, I will not have to identify them. After I finish collecting my species for the day, I go here to my reef journal to record them. During today's dive log, which I did earlier, I did count 121 organisms and I earned 71 clams. On this particular trip, I did not see any new species, so there is nothing to identify. If I click on my journal, these are the species that I have already seen and identified. If they're blank, then I have not yet seen or identified them. Everything is divided by fish, plants, invertebrates, mammals. I saw a shark this morning, but I have not yet seen a dolphin. I've seen one of the 2 turtles available. So I do use my journal to identify the species that I see each day, and then I can go to the collaborative graphs and see what other people are seeing. The graphs do show the sightings of different reptiles, plants, fish, invertebrates, and mammals. The graph is updated every 15 minutes, and I can go through and share my thoughts on how the graph is being formulated or what changes I'm seeing by going in to analyze the data. Let's take a look at the rare species that people have been spotting. Let me move Screencast-O-Matic over here so you can see the rare species. These are students that are logging in and talking about the different things they're seeing, what species has the lowest numbers and why. Some of them are hard to spot. You do hardly ever see a shark. I've only seen one once. I have not seen a dolphin yet. I have not seen an octopus or squid, so the kids can comment on what they're seeing and why they think that's happening. So if you are a science teacher and you're going to use the Whyville Reef Station to help simulate an actual reef with your students, you can see a lot of advantages to them identifying the plants and animals that they see. They're going to then have to categorize those plants and animals. They're going to have to record them in their journal. They can go back to them at any time. They can take a look at the numbers that are being recorded and look at the graphs. They can look up information using the resources, and they can go into the forums and discuss what they're seeing as opposed to what other students are seeing. If the students are using Whyville for other features and they're collecting clams, they can obviously increase their salary here in the reef station, so that's an advantage to them, and they can earn clams by identifying species. So it was a lot of fun to play with. It's sponsored by really neat people like the Field Museum in Chicago. Some of the other sponsors you see on the original page, and I can definitely see the advantages of using this virtual world in a middle school science class. So I hope you have enjoyed this tour of the Reef Station. Thank you so much.